I'm Storm Team 3 Chief Meteorologist Scott Roberts, and this is your forecast first. We are tracking Tropical Storm Helen in the western Caribbean Sea. It is becoming stronger, and we expect the impacts for us here locally Thursday into Friday, and those local impacts are becoming a little bit more likely. We'll have the latest forecast details on what we can expect coming up in a few moments, but First News 3 starts now.
Now on News 3 at 6, former President Donald Trump in Savannah rallying supporters.
We've got team coverage breaking down his message to local supporters, the crowd's reaction, and what this visit could mean for the upcoming election.
You're watching WSAV on your side. Now, WSAV News 3 at 6.
Good evening, I'm Tina Tyus-Shaw.
And I'm Ben Singer. Thank you for joining us tonight. Savannah once again on the national stage as a second presidential candidate pays the hostess city a visit.
It is our top story tonight. Former President Donald Trump appealing to Georgia voters at the Johnny Mercer Theater this afternoon. We have team coverage straight ahead of the historic visit, and from the sizable turnout to tense moments between protesters and supporters, just steps from the venue.
We begin tonight with WSAV's Ben Katko. He was inside the venue for us and joins us now with more on the former president's message.
Well, good evening to the both of you. Things have pretty much wrapped up here out front of the Civic Center. Of course, inside we've been done for hours, but the crowd inside was very charged, very lively for the former president as he rallied here, hitting on the hottest of hot button issues.
Hello, Savannah, and hello, Georgia. We love Georgia.
Hundreds of people packed inside the Johnny Mercer Theater for hours to hear from former President Donald Trump.
We need somebody that's going to go in there and make a change, and the only person that can do that is Donald J. Trump.
Mr. Trump making his first campaign stop in Savannah ahead of November.
We are a small business owner. We were thriving under the Trump administration, and now we're trying to survive under the Biden-Harris administration.
The former president spent about an hour hammering topics like his opponent, tariffs on foreign-made goods, American oil, and American manufacturing.
We're going to have prosperity the likes of which this country has never had. And together we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, really low energy costs.
This visit to battleground Georgia comes just about 40 days ahead of Election Day and just weeks after a visit from Vice President Kamala Harris.
We will put America first, and we will take back our country. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
To mention here is the former president really did hammer home the idea of potentially deepening the Savannah River a second time should he get back into office after November, something of course we'll have to wait to see if that is ultimately fulfilled. I'm live downtown this evening. Ben Katko, WSAV News 3 on your side.
Ben, thank you. We are getting answers tonight after rumors began swirling outside the rally and online about why the event was being held at the Johnny Mercer Theater, a considerably smaller venue than when Vice President Kamala Harris rallied at the Enmarket Arena last month.
Many people in the crowd accusing Mayor Van Johnson of denying the Trump campaign a larger venue. So we asked the mayor, and here's what he had to say.
That is absolutely absurd. The Trump campaign came to Savannah, and they toured both the Enmarket Arena and the Johnny Mercer Theater. The Enmarket Arena was available if they chose to use it. I guess they picked the venue they felt they could fill, which was the Johnny Mercer Theater. And so instead of the 9,500 seat Enmarket Arena, they chose the 2,526 seat Johnny Mercer Theater.
We also reached out to officials with Enmarket Arena who tell WSAV, quote, the Trump campaign requested availability of Johnny Mercer Theater for today's Trump Town Hall. The campaign chose to host today's event at the Johnny Mercer Theater.
A group of Harris Wall supporters stood on a corner just across from Orland Square where several Trump vendors were selling merchandise. WSAV's Sarah Smith joining us live with what those protesters had to say.
Well, it did get pretty heated right here on this street corner, but nothing turned violent, just some raised voices. Many of those people very passionate about what they believe in. The Harris Walls peaceful protest was organized by the Young Democrats of Chatham County. Their president, Tiger Lily Harrington, says their mission today is to let former President Donald Trump know that he is not welcome in Savannah. Now, it's something similar to what Mayor Johnson said this morning, though the mayor said Trump is welcome here. His policies, however, are not. Here's what Harrington and another Harris Walls supporter had to say about why they're not voting for Trump this November.
Trump does not represent Savannah. He does not represent young people. He doesn't represent women. He doesn't represent people of color. We're not about it.
The reason why we're here, I think that it's important to be here so that we can stand for our democracy and not fascism. I think that it's very important to be an activist and not be filled with hate.
As far as the two groups interacting with one another, there was a lot of shouting over one another, and I'm not sure if either party's voices were heard. Reporting live in Savannah, Sarah Smith, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Sarah, thank you. As Trump was on the way to Georgia soil, the U.S. Secret Service announced they are increasing security around the former president. The security change comes after a pair of assassination attempts, one at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, and a more recent thwarted attempt at a Trump's Florida golf course. WSAV's Kaylee Fetko joining us live now from outside the rally venue. Kaylee, what was security like today?
Well, Tina, to answer your question, security was maxed out today for the reasons you mentioned. Yes, this is a former president and presidential candidate, but Donald Trump survived a second assassination attempt nearly a week ago. Now, I want to show you some of what I saw earlier today. Check this out. Army snipers on rooftops, basically some sort of armed officer anywhere you looked, whether that was from the Secret Service, Georgia State Patrol, or Savannah Police, who was spearheading the security around this event. And people I talked to today also telling me they felt that great sense of security because it appeared there really wasn't anywhere where someone with ill intentions could go without being seen. Obviously very important considering that first assassination attempt proved deadly, killing one person and 3 people shot total. Reporting live in Savannah, Kaylee Fetko, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Kaylee, thank you. Continuing our team coverage now, local Republicans very excited about the former president's rally and the heavy focus on Georgia this election season. WSAV's Christine Quayle spoke with Representative Buddy Carter of Georgia's 1st Congressional District. She joins us now live outside the Civic Center with his impressions of the rally.
Yeah, so Representative Carter and I spoke at length today about Trump's remarks. Now, Trump gave a lot of his usual messages that he has on the campaign trail today, but here in Savannah specifically, he really chose to double down on the economy and some of those economic issues voters I spoke to say that they're facing one after the other. People I spoke to in line waiting to hear the former president speak, they all said the economy is really what's going to bring me out to the polls. Now, one interesting thing in particular that Trump proposed here today is placing tariffs, pretty high tariffs on manufacturers, car manufacturers who make their cars in other countries and then ship them here. That would be in an effort to bring some of those manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. And of course, in Bryan County here, we've had the Hyundai Meta plant that's come in the last few years, really brought a lot of changes to our area. So really something that's going to strike a chord with voters possibly. And when I asked Representative Carter his thoughts, he agreed. He thought so too.
Going to impact our area. There's no question about that because we are becoming a manufacturing hub. Georgia's open for business. 11 years in a row, the #1 business in which to do, #1 state in which to do business. I mean, people are flocking here, and we're going to have manufacturing. When Donald Trump gets back as president of the United States, he's going to get people back. He's going to get jobs back and manufacturing back to America. That is one of his goals, and I'm just excited about it.
Now, some of those other issues that Trump supporters brought up here today, when I asked them why they were out here, they said foreign policy, they said immigration. I asked Representative Carter, do you think that Trump's remarks here today might sway anybody who's, on the fence about which person they are going to vote for? And he said, absolutely. But when I talk to people, they specifically the people here, maybe some people watching at home feel differently, but they all said they are staunch in their support for the former president. So we will just have to see what happens. Reporting in Savannah, Christine Quayle, WSAV News 3, on your side.
All right, Christine, thank you. While Trump campaigned here in Savannah, a visit to the U.S.-Mexico border could be on the table for Vice President Kamala Harris. That is according to two people briefed on the preparations who say the visit would happen during Harris's upcoming trip to Arizona. It would be the vice president's first time at the southern border since becoming the Democratic presidential nominee. Sources say the final details about exactly where Harris would visit or what else she might do on that trip have not yet been decided.
Trump spoke for more than an hour today. You can see his remarks in their entirety on our website, wsav.com/yourlocalelectionhq.
In our Time Saver traffic report this evening, conditions on the major roadways are improving. Just 24 minutes is the drive time from Savannah to Pooler. Weather-wise, quiet conditions are in the forecast for tomorrow, but late in the week we will likely be experiencing the impacts from Tropical Storm Helen. We'll have the full details in just a few moments.
Up next, federal relief is on the way for Georgia residents recovering from Tropical Storm Debbie. We will tell you which counties are eligible for disaster assistance and how you can apply for help. Federal assistance is on the way for those impacted by Tropical Storm Debbie. President Joe Biden has just approved a major disaster declaration for the state of Georgia, releasing critical funds to help communities recover from the devastation caused by the storm last month.
Residents in several counties, including Chatham, Bryan, and Effingham, are eligible for individual assistance now to rebuild their homes and lives. WSAV's Nikaya Harris joining us now live for more details on how this aid will be distributed and how you can apply.
This is what the people of Bryan County have been waiting for, especially here in Richmond Hill. People here are still cleaning, staying with friends or families, just trying to get their lives back together. Now, I'm joined here with Bryan County Commissioner Chairman Carter Enfinger, and he will be telling us why this is such a major step forward for the county. Now, Carter, can you explain what this means for Bryan County homeowners who were affected by Tropical Storm Debbie?
Well, you know, we got the declaration today, so it's IA, which is individual assistance. So now our residents will be able to go and apply for assistance through FEMA, and that will free up some money for them. It's a process, so we just ask them to go ahead and start applying for that. Go to the website and continue to go back to that website for information, and it's posted on our Facebook page and some other outlets in the community. But it's important to make sure so our folks do get taken care of, since we did get the declaration of a natural disaster.
So will these homeowners receive money, labor? How will they?
Well, FEMA will send a representative down here, and they'll go to the homes and assess the damage. You know, we ask in the beginning that everybody document. So hopefully those folks have pictures and receipts that they can look at and let the adjuster look at, and then he'll make the determination through FEMA. The FEMA representative will make the determination on how much money they get. There'll also be SBA, which is Small Business Administration loans, very low interest loans for people who can get a loan, or for people to get a loan.
And again, can you talk about what website should they go to
They should go to www.disasterassistance.gov, or you can call 1-800-621-FEMA. And again, those are posted on our Facebook page, and I'm sure some other government entities have those posted on their page as well.
So going into the county and city, how does this help Bryan County and its cities in Pembroke and Richmond Hill?
Well, so when we get IA for individual assistance, we get PA public assistance. So we'll be able to do the same thing through the FEMA website, download all our receipts and pictures in disaster, and get money for our municipalities, you know, Richmond Hill, Pembroke, and also Bryan County. We'll be able to get some assistance with their funds, because we definitely spent a lot of money fixing our roads back and all the other things we have done during the storm.
Now, Bryan County, along with 7 other counties, have received federal disaster declaration. Our digital team has actually put together a whole webpage where you can go and find out additional information. That's going to be on WSAV.com. But for now, reporting live, Nikaya Harris, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Now all eyes are on the next tropical system that will be making its way into the coastal empire and the low country as the week goes on. Tropical storm Helen formed earlier in the day in the western Caribbean Sea. It's been kind of disorganized, but we are starting to see some bursts of convection near the center of circulation. You can see the brighter reds and oranges on the infrared satellite imagery. It's still a lopsided system to some degree. Most of the heavier weather is going to be on the east side of the path. 50-mile-per-hour sustained wind right now. As of 5 o'clock, I should say, 65-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We do expect this to move toward the Yucatan Peninsula, strengthening into a hurricane as it makes its way into the Gulf of Mexico, perhaps even becoming a major hurricane before making landfall late in the day Thursday along the Big Bend region of Florida. This does make this a stronger system as it does make its way into South Georgia by early Friday morning. 2 o'clock is the timestamp. Still 70-mile-per-hour sustained wind with that system as a tropical storm at that point. That means winds could be even stronger as far as wind gusts for us at times. We do have numerous tropical alerts in place for Florida, the peninsula, and into the Big Bend and Florida Panhandle. And now we do have a hurricane watch in place for southern Georgia and a tropical storm watch in place for the Georgia counties of the WSAV viewing area. We will likely see more counties get added to this over the next couple of advisories, but this means that tropical storm conditions are becoming more likely for us here in the coastal empire low country. The main timing is going to be Thursday evening and into early Friday morning, and the exact magnitude of what we'd expect here will be determined by the size, the intensity, and the track. And it looks like this system is going to be a large one, so the tropical storm force wind gusts threat is going to be elevated with this. Most of the area will be dealing with that. That will lead to power outages, trees down, and even some damage, physical damage. Heavy rain could lead to some localized flash flooding. And with the winds being onshore, storm surge is going to be a concern for the high tide cycles, and also isolated tornadoes are possible. As far as our forecast wind gusts, the way things stand right now, most of the area will be dealing with wind gusts in excess of 40 and 50 miles per hour, even at the coast. That wind coming onshore, that's what will lead to those higher than normal tides. Hour by hour in our Vipercast model, this is the GFS. The American model has a pretty good placement of that system right now. Once it's in the Gulf of Mexico, it will become stronger, more symmetrical, and already as we head into Thursday afternoon, we could have some outer rain bands coming in. That onshore flow will begin to pick up heading through the day, with the strongest impacts from the system actually expected overnight. There's the timestamp after 3 o'clock in that that morning. That center of circulation at that point would just be to our west. That heaviest rain, the strongest wind would be just to the east of that. So this is going to be very impactful heading into early Friday morning. But then by the afternoon, conditions will be improving as we head into dinner time. Conditions will be drying out, and we will be looking at those winds staying breezy but dying off. For tonight, 72 degrees for the low temperature. Definitely a partly cloudy sky for tonight, and then for tomorrow, it is going to be the day for you to start preparing for this system rolling through the area. Get the yard cleaned up, get everything indoors that you may want to, that you don't want blowing away. Things could turn into projectiles very quickly when you have wind speeds in excess of 50 and 60 miles per hour as far as those wind gusts. So Thursday and Friday are the days to be weather alert. That is when we will have the impacts from Tropical Storm Helene rolling through our area.
All right, thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
Get your free case review from Farah and Farah, lawyers in Savannah you can trust. Now, your Farah and Farah WSAV Sports Desk.
We start with the biggest matchup of the college football season so far. Number 2 Georgia traveling to Tuscaloosa for a date with number 4 Alabama. Both teams coming to this week with an extra week to prepare for the game. Georgia's last outing, they narrowly defeated Kentucky in Lexington 13-12, but despite winning, Georgia was dropped to number 2 in the AP poll. Alabama, on the other hand, steamrolled Wisconsin out of the Big Ten 42-10. When you look at the recent history, since Kirby Smart has been the head coach at Georgia, Alabama has defeated the Dogs 5 out of 6 times. The lone victory, of course, the 2022 national title game. But all those games were with Nick Saban on the headset for Alabama.
It's just the normal course of progression. I think it's strange going back there sometimes because I lived there. Our kids were born there and lived there for 9 years and had such great experiences there.
Kirby Smart said Warren Brinson, who was dealing with a leg injury, did practice towards the end of last week. Coming up at 11, we go to the volleyball court. Effingham and South Effingham lock horns one more time. That's a wrap for sports. Stay with us. More news is next.
In our community report, a Harry Potter themed event returning to downtown Savannah next month, and tickets are now on sale.
Frogworts will take over the Georgia State Railroad Museum and the neighboring Savannah Children's Museum for this event. Organizers with the Coastal Heritage Society say children and their grown-ups will be immersed in STEAM activities inspired by the popular Harry Potter books and movies. For example, there will be a wand-making area, and you can also take a ride on the Frogworts Express. It's happening Sunday, October 20th from 11 to 3. Visit WSAV.com/Frogworts for a link to buy tickets. And by the way, this event usually sells out.
Well, that is our time for now. Join us for News 3 at 10 on WSAV CW and back here for News 3 at 11.
Thanks for making WSAV your choice for news.